Good morning. I hope you had a great weekend and welcome back. So, we are moving forward today in our conversations and analysis of the rhetorical situation using the PAPE acronym for persona, audience, purpose, and exigence. So, on this example, we have been talking about Elie Wiesel's Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech as our model for summer reading. And so this is simply a culminating document based on all those notes that I've shared over the past few weeks. So in this document, we're just talking a little bit about rhetoric again, right? It's transactional. It's based on an exchange or interaction between various factors. So on this first section, I put the guiding questions here, right? What facets of the writer's or speaker's personality are evident in a text? What is he or she choosing to emphasize or de-emphasize? How does he or she want to be perceived by the audience? And so these were just my notes. Obviously, this is just a sample. This is not something I would turn in as a summative grade, but ultimately, this is kind of me just extracting all the things I've showed you in the past. So the same thing for audience, right? Here are the different guiding questions we've discussed. And then I just wanted you to remember that rhetoric is simply the art of persuasive communication. So when we're talking about how is the rhetoric modified, this is that conversation where we all knew what a leader is, but having to talk to a 5-year-old versus a group of undecided voters, the rhetoric, the way I persuade them, the way I argue something is going to be different. And then there's just reminders here for purpose and exigence, along with the notes that I mentioned in my examples last week. So here are some different words or phrases that you can use when we talk about exigence. Think about it in the terms of like motivating force, right? So I had empathy here. I also had provoked by people who continue to act, right? So maybe anger, or maybe another word would be maybe anger, not so much, or shame, or I'm not quite sure. I can't think of the word at the moment that I was thinking about earlier. It'll come back to me later, so check back with me during Zoom. But anyway, these are some great words to think about these concepts when looking at exigence. And so the whole purpose of this is to compile all of these notes into a solid introduction. So if we were to write a rhetorical analysis essay on this, we would be ready to synthesize a lot of our notes into a solid introductory paragraph. And then the rest of the essay, obviously, we'll get to in terms of like strategies and how they do these things. But here is just some notes. Include your title and the author of the reading, and then provide context if applicable. So you'll see that in my first phrase. In Elie Wiesel's acceptance speech for the 1986 Nobel Peace Prize. So there's my title, there's my speaker, there's my context, right? To an audience of dignitaries and global listeners about the urgent plight of human oppression and suffering, he positions himself as an empathetic champion of the persecuted to implore his audience to remember the sufferings of the past and actively work to stop current acts of oppression and abuse. So you'll see it's color-coded in terms of PAPE. If I were to continue this introduction, I would simply add on my thesis statement for the rest of the essay. So this is all we're going to practice, okay? We're going to practice just extracting some of these notes and taking it into a solid introduction. So before we do that with our summer reading book, we're going to practice in something shorter. So here is your copy of the Frog Prince. When you click on it, it will ask you to make your own copy because I would like for you to highlight and annotate the elements of PAPE as you're reading, okay? So that's all you're going to do today. Open up your copy, read and annotate for the 4 different concepts, I guess, of the rhetorical situation. And then for today, just so that way I can double check your attendance and just make sure that you did go through today's example, I want you to look at what is one of the motivating forces or emotions included, okay? So you're going to have to go back to my notes and look at that again. And kind of, you can even go back to last week's notes as well and look at kind of some of the things I wrote down for exigence. And that's it. It's just one word. Type it in and you'll be good to go for today. And then tomorrow we're going to work with our notes for the Frog Prince. Okay. In our conferences this week, we are going to discuss your project scores and my writing feedback for you. And I will not be releasing your scores in Gradebook until you and I have had a conference. So this week, make every effort to attend. If you cannot attend, I expect you to send me an email or a message through Schoology so that we can reschedule, because these are really important. It's your first summative grade in the Gradebook, and we want to make sure that you absolutely have your passing grade. Okay? So have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.